Welcome back to the Cardman's Cards. I'm the Cardman, and today we're going to be going over the next TCG exclusive archetype, RB, also known as Rebel Bots, I believe. They have gotten its second wave of support here in Doom of Dimensions, also known as Spooky DOOD. And we're going to go ahead and jump into it, and we go over the first couple cards we got in the first wave, and then go over the new ones. So first up, we have RB Ga10 Cutter. He's a level 4 Earth Machine. You control no face-up monsters, or only face-up monsters you control are RB monsters. Special summon this card from your hand. You only special summon RB Ga10 Cutter once per turn this way. Opponents activate the spell or trap effect when this card is linked to an RB monster. Quick effect. You can pay 700 life points, destroy this card, and if you do, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So this effect of RB Ga10 Cutter once per turn. So, the Ga10 is basically their manufacturer. The whole RB gimmick is having giant robots and having them attached with different pieces. Ga10 is a manufacturer of those pieces, as it says stamped on the card here, up in the upper corner. Then we have different ones like Valcan, which makes rocket and booster. And then we have a new one of Lambda, making the cannon and the blade. Each of the pieces have similar effects, how they can summon themselves. The only pieces that can't are Lambda Cannon and Lambda Blade. But all the rest can. They all do something on the board depending on how they activate, but they pay life points to do so and destroy themselves. Next up is RB Ga10 Driller, level 3 Earth Machine. If you control no face-up monsters other than RB monsters, summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, during the main phase, if this card is linked to an RB link monster effect, pay 500 life points and target one monster your opponent controls. Destroy both that monster and this card. With each effect of RB Ga10 Driller once per turn. So, Cutter is a spell trap negate. Driller is a monster negate. Next up, we have Valcan Rocker, a level 5 fire machine. If you control no monsters, you only face up monsters you control RB monsters, summon. And then, once per turn, if this card is linked to a RB link monster, you can pay 1,000, then target 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. Also this card, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. So with Valcan Rocker, you pop 2 and then burn for 15. Due to how the wording is, it's for each card destroyed, not each card on your opponent's field destroyed. So you'll burn for Valcan's destruction as well. So they'll burn for Valcan's destruction. So they'll burn 5 for each card and 5 more for Valcan. So this is the first group of monsters we got along with Link. And let's go ahead into the new ones coming in Spooky DOOD, which is RB Lambda Cannon, a level 6 dark machine. This card is no more special summon. You can target one RB monster in your grave except Lambda Cannon, add it to your hand. While this card is linked to an RB monster, you can pay 1,200 life points, destroy this card, and if you do, look at your opponent's hand and special summon one monster from it to their field, but negate its effects. Using each effect of RB Lambda Cannon once per turn. So Cannon is a forced hand rip, kinda. Pokemon does this more than anything else. Like, play a basic from your opponent's discard or your opponent's area. This is just ripping a hand trap or something out of your opponent's hand early, so they don't get the inherent effect. This is really good if you're going first and your opponent activates Fuwalos or something. You activate Lambda Cannon to make them pitch a card, to put a card on field, so you inherently don't get the effect of it. Next up is RB Lambda Blade, a level 7 dark machine. This card no more special summoned. You can send one RB card from the deck to the grave, except itself. And then during your opponent's main phase, if this card is linked to an RB monster, quick effect, pay 14, and then target one monster your opponent controls, destroy this card, and if you do, take control of that monster, but destroy it during the end phase. So this is a monster take. And then lastly, for the last RB monster we're going to be running, which is RB Ga10 Pile Bunker. He's a level 8 Earth Machine. If you control no face-up monsters or only face-up monsters you control or RB monsters, special summon this card from your hand. Only special summon RB Bunker once per turn this way. And when an attack is declared involving an opponent's monster and the RB Brute Blues that points to this card, you can pay 1,500, destroy all cards your opponent controls and this card. Each effect of RB Ga10 Pile Bunker once per turn. So, overall, they all basically do a thing by paying life points and destroying themselves. Basically, their one action makes them inoperable. So, for example, I'm going to cut through an opponent's spell trap. Oh, Cutter's now dead, so it pops off. Oh, look, Rocket went off. Oh, it's gone. So they're all pretty inherently good. The only one that's not great is Pile Bunker. Its secondary, its actual effect is situational, but its summon ability to summon off of its own effect and just be summoned off the other RB cards makes it really helpful as an additional starter piece and to link into your other link monsters. Next up, we have actually a minor engine. There's 2 in the deck. One is the Speedroids. Mainly, I'm only running the 4 Speedroid cards. Mainly Speedroid Terroir, which is a level 3 wind machine. If you control no monster, summon this card from your hand. When this card is no more special summon, you can add 1 Speedroid monster from your hand, except Speedroid Terroir. So Terroir basically allows you to automatically gain 2 machine monsters without fail relatively easily. Because after you summon Terratop, you go ahead and add Taketomborg, which is another level 3 wind machine. If you control wind monsters, special summon this card from your hand. Then you contribute this card to summon a Speedroid Tuner from your deck, also summon the rest of the turn, except wind monsters. The only effect that really applies for Taketomborg here is the summon effect. Basically, you summon Terratop, add Taketomborg, summon Tomborg, link for Valcan booster. And the last regular monster we're going to be running is Therion, King of Regulus. He's a level 8 Earth Machine, 2616. You can target 1 Therion machine in the grave, summon this card, and if you do from your hand, equip that monster to it. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, send 1 Therion monster card from your hand or face up in the field to the grave and negate that effect. So he is an Omni-Negate, but he equips a machine to do it, so you can target any of your machine monsters in grave to summon him. And the last handful of monsters we're running are just generic hand traps. Nibiru, the Primal Being. If your opponent summons 5 or more times, summon this card, send all our face-up cards to the grave. Fuwalos. If you control no cards, but effect this card, applying this effect. Each time your opponent summons from the deck or extra deck, draw a card. Opponent adds from the deck to hand, sends from deck to grave, or summons from deck, pitch this card, negate that effect, which is Ash. And lastly, but is Valor. Just for monster negation, this format's very monster heavy, and a bunch of monster effects going on, so you don't have to worry about adding a bunch. You mainly want to stop them summoning from deck or adding or summoning, activating other cards to do that. Valor is during your opponent's main phase, so it's worse than Imperm, but still inherently good for the monster negation. You can discard this card that target 1 monster your opponent controls, negate the effects of that face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. That is all the regular monsters I'm running in the main deck. Onto the spells and traps. First up is one of the first waves of support. The first wave is RB Staged Landing. It's a normal spell. Summon 1 RB monster from your deck/extra deck with a different name from the cards you control. If an RB monster you control will be destroyed by battle card effect, you can banish this card from your grave instead. From the extra deck for the rest of the turn, you activate this card, except 15 or less original attack. So, the main reason this TCG exclude archetype is not as good as Mitsurugi or the one that's going to come after of this one, who knows, is due to the fact that they have a specific lock, being 15 or less at the original attack. Stage Landing is only after you activate the card. The one monster I'm going to show in a little bit is the entire. Stage Landing is the entire turn, as the other one is only after you activate that effect. So, basically, by using any of the 2 most powerful cards in the archetype, that being Stage Landing and the other one being their Link 2, you can't inherently summon anything with 15 or higher. There's a few other options in what I'm running. You can run Don Dragster, for example. There's other ones lower too, but nothing that really inherent warrant the run. 3 Stage Landing because it's not once per turn. To clarify, this is not a once per turn effect. You can add this off of another RB card, activate it, and summon another RB card other than the ones you control. So you typically go through 2 a turn. And then next up we have their field spell, RB Funk Dock. Time to get funky, y'all. Sorry, that was real bad. I don't care. It's just, as every time I think of like disco or jazz. When this card is activated, you add 1 RB card from your deck to your hand, except RB Funk Dock. Each time a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, gain 500. Face up RB monster you control leaves the field by card effect except during the damage step. When one RB monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of RB Funk Dock once per turn. So, due to how Funk Dock is worded, if it's destroyed by battle, it doesn't apply. It's only when it leaves by card effect. So when they trigger their own effects to destroy themselves, that would apply. Any card that bounces them to hand would trigger the Funk Dock effect. Any kind of card effect removal, not destruction. Not by battle. This is also a 3-div because this is another one of your starters. Basically, you activate Funk Dock, add Stage Landing, summon the Link, add another Stage Landing, summon another card, you go from there. And their new continuous spell from Doom of Dimensions is RB Operation Test. This card's really good and also gets some good synergies with another continuous spell, which I'll go over shortly. When this card is activated, you can target one level 3 or higher RB monster in your grave, special summon it. You can target any number of RB monsters you control, gain life points equal to the combined original attack, and if you do, return them to the hand/extra deck. Then you can summon an RB monster from your hand. You can only use each effective RB operation test once per turn. You can activate one operation test per turn. So what this does is after you started going through your combo and you activate the operation test, you can target one of your RBs in grave to resurrect them to get more link material. So you don't have to inherently trigger your Valcan booster effect to summon one back to move it. You can just inherently boop, and then due to the effect of how this works, you target one, bounce it to hand, gain life points, summon it back, then trigger Funk Dock on your turn to summon another name from the deck, basically giving you one material, saving you 2 materials off of one card, because you get one back from the grave off its own effect, bounce it to hand, summon it back, summon another one from deck. This is a 2 because it's easily searchable and you don't need it every single time, but it does help. And the second minor engine I'm running is Sky Striker. Just engage and then the one quick play Hornet drones, because whenever you activate engage, you can add a Sky Striker card if you control no monsters in the main monster zone. And then if you have 3 or more spells in grave, draw a card, which if this ever comes up, that'd be nice, but I don't think it's ever going to come up. Like, it's like turn 4, like, oh, I need monsters now. Engage. Ha 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 ha. And then we have Hornet drones. If you control no monsters in the main monster zone, special summon 1 Sky Striker, Ace token, Warrior, Dark, level 1, 0, attack, defense 0. In defense position, cannot be attributed if you have 3 or more spells in the grave. When this card resolves, the token attack becomes 15 instead. But yeah, that is the main deck. Here is for some of the additional cards we run, which is 1 Terraforming just to add Funk Dock, Upstart Goblin. The reason I'm running Upstart, due to how many inherent minor engines and names you have to run, drawing is really good for the deck, but there's not many good draw cards for the deck. You don't want to run Extravagance because you basically want to be using multiple copies of all your extra deck names or minor engines you have. Like, for example, if I run Extravagance and I banish any of the Link Sky Striker names, I can't play. But if I banish all 3 copies of Brute Blues, I'm screwed. I banish both copies of Shepherd's Crook, I can't do anything. There's so many minor pieces that I have to have multiples of for any given turn, I can't inherently play Extrav. Then you're thinking, okay, play Desires. But the same problem occurs. I'm running many low count names in this 44 card deck that if I banish too many of them, I don't get to play. If I banish 3 out of my 6 RB names, I don't get much effect. I basically get 2 effects, really. And depending on which ones they are, like if I banish Cutter and Lambda Blade, only real interaction I get in my opponent's turn is Driller, which is a monster pop, which is cool, but it's not going to do me any good. It's going to be like, oh, you popped my monster. Ah. So there's not really inherently that many good draw cards for the deck. So I'm thinking, what card can inherently just get you cycling through your deck more that's semi-effective? I'm thinking, Upstart. Yes, it gives your opponent 1,000 life points, but the way the deck's built, you can easily punch through that really easily, especially if you go ahead and throw a rocket at them that burns through their 1,000 plus another 500 anyways. In addition to that, Prosperity. Prosperity is really easily achievable, especially if you already lost out the ability to use the Sky Striker card. You can banish those 3 plus a couple more. to trigger the entire effect. You banish 3 or 6 cards, choosing from your extra deck face down the rest of the turn after this card resolves. Any damage taken is half. Also, activation top card of the deck equal to the number of cards banished. Add one of the activated cards. So if you get to banish all 6, cool, you get 6 cards. But most of the time, you're only ever gonna get 3, due to how tight and how compact that you have to have the extra deck. So yeah, you could probably run more upstarts if you like. If you want to cut some of the other, like cut the one nib, if you want. Like, only reason I'm running the one nib is for crossout mainly, and also if you get to see it, sweet. But there's more likely not going to happen. The next couple cards we run are just insulation and protection due to the fact that you do not want to get hit with certain hand traps, like getting ashed, or mainly ash is the real one that's kind of a pain in the butt. So I run Call By and one Crossout, basically to stop your hand traps. Call By the Grave is target one monster in the opponent's graveyard, banishing it if you do until the end of the turn. The effects are negated as well. The activated effects and effects on the field of face-up monsters with the same original name, so it just turns the entire card off. And then Crossout is you declare one name, banish one card of the declared name from the main deck, and if you do, negate its effects as well, the activated effects and effects on the field of cards, the same original name until the end of the turn. Activate one Crossout Designator per turn. So yeah, so I'm running 2 of those just to inherently stop some of the gobbledygook that can happen with ashing some of the early cards. Like, oh, I activate Funk Dock, ash. If you have no recovery or any other extension from here, you just kind of lose due to being ashed. Droll is also kind of a pain in the butt, but you only really ever add twice per turn. Because what you typically do is you summon off of the RB landing, add Funk Dock, add another card. Oh, sorry, you can add 2 to 3 times per turn, and then add Operation Test, which is like, yeah, okay. So if you get Drolled, you don't get as much, but it's not the end of the world. It still would hurt. I should probably throw a Droll here instead of the Nib, because the Nib is not scary, but it's still not fun. But yeah, then the last spell we run is Clockwork Night. I want to move this to 2, but I haven't found a good reason to run 2 yet. All face-up monsters on the field become machine. Machine monsters you control gain 5, and also machine monsters your opponent controls lose 5. So basically, it's 1,000 difference. And then you can discard 1 card, add 1 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate a Clockwork Knight once per turn. You can only activate 1 Clockwork Knight per turn. So what you really want to do here is, due to Barricaded Borg Blocker, as whenever he's linked someone, you can pitch a card to add a continuous or field spell back, and you do run several of those. Like, you run Operations Test and Funk Dock, so you can add either of these back if they're in grave. Mainly Operation Test due to how you add the Clockwork Knight comes up, which I'll go over momentarily. So you can typically get this back, so you get it basically guaranteed for next turn. And the traps. We have 2 traps. These are also coming in Doom of Dimensions. It is RB Last Stand. This is basically a trap variation of Stage Landing. So when RB monster from your deck, extra deck, or grave with a different name than the card you control. The rest of the turn, after this card resolves by someone from the extra deck, except 15 or less. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets an RB monster you control, you can banish this card from the graveyard, negate that effect, and if you do, only has 1 RB Last Stand effect per turn, and only once that turn. So, it is a form of insulation. If your opponent's like, oh, I'm going to target this with Imperm, banish, negate. But the only way to get it in grave is pitching it for Clockwork Knight if you open it, which sucks, or using Lambda Blade, which Lambda Blade's effect is better suited to sending one of your other RB cards, specifically when your monsters to grave, to cycle back with Operation Test. And then we have RB Next Phase. Oh, just to confirm, RB Last Stand, you can only use each effect once per turn and only once that turn. So, say during your opponent's turn, you activate Last Stand to summon a name, and it goes to grave. You can't banish that same turn you activate it. You have to wait an additional turn, because it has to be a different turn. So the best way to really use it is setting it early and not having the effect come up, or sending it off a Lambda Blade so you don't activate the first effect. Anyways, the counter trap, Next Phase, is pretty good. It's not the best. It's only a monster negate, But still, Monster Negate inherently is good, because the deck doesn't have any form of monster negation other than next phase. It has Spell Trap negation and monster removal, but not monster negation. So this inherently helps. When it activates a monster effect where you control an RB monster, destroy one monster you control. And if you do, negate the activation, and if you do destroy that card, then gain 2,000 life points. So using the activate effect of RB next phase once per turn. So basically what you want to do is activate, pop a card. If you do, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card, then you gain 2. So basically, you're basically going pop on 2 monsters, but also negating their effect, which is pretty good. Yeah. And you can easily destroy monsters you control. Like, you can pop a card and you summon it off of something else, but it's not hard to activate. And lastly, is just Imperm. It's really good this format due to Izuna, Yummy, other cards that can just summon themselves during your turn, which is really annoying. Just pitch, negate. Target one phase up monster, opponent controls, negates the effect at the end of the turn. And if this card was set before activation is on the field of resolution, the spell and trap column is negated as well. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and move on to the extra deck. We have Clockwork Knight, a Link 1 Earth Machine. One non-Link monster with machine with 1,000 or less original attack. And if it's Link summoned, you can send one face-up continuous spell you control to the grave, and one Clockwork Knight from your deck to the hand. You can target one machine monster with 1,000 or less attack. In your graveyard, tribute one machine monster, except this card, and if you do, summon that targeted monster in defense position. Each effect of Clockwork Knight once per turn. So this basically lets you cycle names easier. Also gets you the Clockwork Knight that I was talking about earlier. But the only monster you can really summon with it is Cutter, Driller, and I think Rocket. That's it. That's the 3. Yeah, everything else is too big. That's the only 3 names you can summon off of that. Oh, I guess you can also use Taketomborg if absolutely necessary. But yeah, then we have the 3 Sky Striker links. They're all Link 1s. They're all different attributes. Shizuna is water, Kagari is fire, and Hayate is wind. The only one that affects actively matter is Kagari. You can target one Sky Striker spell and trap card in the grave, add to the hand, and gains up to 100 attack for each spell card in your grave. The only reason you have to run all 3 is after you link someone into Kagari with a token, you have to go into Hayate, or you won't have a down arrow to link into your Shizuku to get a link to make the Link 2. It's the only reason you have to run a 3rd one, due to link arrows. That's just how it comes out to be. To minimize the Sky Striker cards in the extra deck, you have to run 3 of them, unfortunately. Because basically, due to how the arrows point, you just have to, which unfortunately sucks. Shizuku is during the end phase, you can add one Sky Striker card that's not in the grave. And then Hayate, during the battle phase, if this card attacked, you can add one Sky Striker card. Sorry, no, it sends a card to grave. My bad. But these are never going to come up. If you are stuck on Hayate and Shizuku, you got problems. Something went wrong. Then we have 3 of the Valcan Booster. This card's really good. This card's a Fire Machine, Link 2, 500 attack. Unfortunately, can't be used for Clockwork Knight because it's a Link monster. This card is Link summoned. Add one RB spell from deck to hand. If this card is an EMZ, summon one RB monster from your hand or grave in its defense position. Then you can move this card to another main monster zone, also not summoned as a turn, except monster with 1,500 or less attack. You can use each effective RB Valcan Booster once per turn. So, the good thing about this, it's a Link 2, so it's really easy to make. Just any 2 machine monsters, which a lot of the deck, you can see, summons 2. And then on summon, adds any RB card, spell, and then resurrects one of the RB names that's in grave due to its Link summon, or sent there off other means, like Lambda Blade. But yeah, it's really helpful with getting cards starting and circulating your names. Next up is another Link 2, which is Barricaded Board Blocker. He's a Dark Machine, Link 2. 2 monsters with different names, and you can inherently eat a Nib token with this, which is good to know. This card is Link Summon. You can discard 1 card during the end phase of this turn, and one continuous or field spell from your grave to your hand. You can only use this effective Barricade Board Blocker once per turn. Face-up spells cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So just inherently gives you build-up protection, which is nice, but you're never going to leave him on board long enough, unfortunately. Last up is the new Link monster that equips with Lambda Blade and Lambda Cannon, who is also on Operation Test. And the last stand, which is Shepherd's Crook. He is a Link 3, like Brute Blues. He is Earth instead of Dark, and he also has 1500 attack, just like Brute Blues. His arrows are diagonal down and to the left instead of the other diagonal. 2+ monsters, including RB, for his summon. Gains 500 attack for each monster you control, except this card. You can only use each effect of the following effects for RB Shepherd's Crook once per turn. Excuse me. During your main phase, you can set one RB trap from your deck or grave. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can target 3 or lower level. Level 3 or higher RB monsters in the grave. Place 2 in the bottom of the deck, and then if you do, summon the other one in defense position. So you can target 3 in grave, resurrect 1, put the other 2 back. It allows you to recycle names that you're going to be summoning and sending off a Lambda Blade and other card effects to get your other pieces on board to get more interaction. The reason too of it is because you can inherently cycle this back with other cards, and you never really, this is not your game ender, this is basically your stopping card. You're like, oh, I want my opponent to stop doing this, so I'm going to use this to inherently cycle out my names to make you not play. The one that's ending games is still the Link 3 Brute Blues, which is a wind. I thought he was an Earth, my bad. He's a wind, not an Earth. Link 3, all directly down, both diagonals and an inherent down arrow. 2+ machine monsters. Gains the following effect while points to an RB monster. Gains attack equal to the original total of all B monsters this card points to. Can make a second attack during each battle phase. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. During your main phase, you can add one RB card from your deck to your hand. You can use each effective RB Brute Blue. This effective RB Brute Blues once per turn. So, you can inherently just summon this off of Stage Landing and Last Stand, both either or. And then you can inherently add another spell or trap or monster, whatever you want, due to other card effects, which is good. 3 of him, because he's cycled 2 or 3 times per turn if you absolutely need it. And then, or just game-ending cards. Just basically, oh, Brute Blues with a couple names underneath them. Hey, look, poke, poke, you die. And lastly are just some utility cards that you can either change or cut. Access code, just because it gets huge, and then you can pop cards with it. Opponent can activate cards in effect response to this card's effect activation. So this card is Link Summon. You can target one Link monster in your grave that's used to return from Link Summon. Which Link, you run 2 Link 3, so it's not hard. And it gains attack equal to the monster's Link Lane times 1,000, so a gain of 3k. And banish one Link monster from your field or grave. Destroy one card your opponent controls. Also, as the turn, you cannot banish monsters with the same attribute to activate this effect. Due to how varied the attributes are in the extra deck, you can banish most of them from your grave after you use them if you make access code, and pop like 7 cards, which is kind of nuts. Because you have Wind, Dark, Fire, Earth, Water, if you happen to use Shizuku, which kind of sucks. Unfortunately, no Light, but you get 5 out of 6 attributes, which is good. And then lastly, Typhon. Just because Typhon's cool. Your opponent goes in the extra deck 2 or more times in their turn, you can summon Typhon. And then you can detach a material, target a card on the field, and bounce it. And then it has a floodgate effect. Monsters of 3k or more can't activate their effects. That's pretty much it. The last thing I want to go over before we end the video is some minor engines and sub things you want to throw in if you're thinking about it. The Machina engine right here. Instead of adding Regulus inherently, you can add Gear Frame, normal Gear Frame. You don't necessarily need the normal summon in the deck. Normal Gear Frame, add Unclasper. Unclasper will summon itself and then send Citadel. This gets you 2 more machine body names, so you can inherently link into more plays. And then Citadel inherently is just a board wipe. He can summon himself when an Earth machine monster is destroyed, which Cutter and Driller both are. So if you use either of the effects, Citadel's coming back. So change blocks some things, which is cool. And then Citadel on its own right is a monster pop. Pops all monsters. You can target one machine monster you control and destroy destroy all monster your opponent controls with attack or equal less than to it, and you can just pop itself, blow everything up at 3k or less. So yeah, that's an idea. You can also run the Cyber Dragon engine. Since you're running Clockwork Knight, you can cut a couple of cards, throw another one in there, and you're like, oh, my opponent has a big board. Okay, normal summon Core or Hertz, or just some special summon Sidra. Everything's machine. and go into Fortress or Mega Fleet, which whenever you need at the time. Just eat the entire board, just board removal. And lastly is Rescue Ace. They do have Fire Machine monsters that can make a link to that just extend. You can play Fire Ace to get 4 back row spell and traps on top of Last Stand, which would be like a 5th one, and just blow your opponent out of the water. It's not hard. It just some of the combo lines don't work that great, and then these do require your normal summon because you have the normal summon Airlifter to really start the Rescue Ace line. But yeah, that's pretty much the entirety of the deck. This is also a rough build. Don't say this is like the best list ever or anything. No, it's not. This is also not an amazing deck. It's probably gonna be like tier 1 or 2 maybe Rogue. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to play and a lot of very interactive games because a lot of stuff happens on my turn and the opponent's turn. You can run a lot on non-engine if you really want to play it pure. As you can see, you can even cut some of the stuff I'm running to run more hand traps. But yeah, that is it for now. This has been the Cardman's Cards. I am the Cardman. Until next time, keep collecting. Bye.